Hello everyone and welcome to a Aether Revolt draft. This is Tom from Team Wrecking Ball, by the way, but you'll know that from the title of this video. It's actually the first time I'm playing this format online, and I've only drafted once. No, I only played sealed in real life, so this is my first Aether Revolt draft. I'm really curious to see how this goes. I have no experience with the format, so don't kill me if I do something very wrong. In this pack I like Daring Demolition and Hungry Flames as the two best cards. I think Heroic Intervention is probably fine, and Daredevil Dragster as well because it's colorless, and I like Aether Swooper, but I think I'm gonna take the Hungry Flames here. From what I've heard, this is a very aggressive format, and in an aggressive format I do really like cards like Hungry Flames that are both removal and burn to the face. Seems pretty good. Here I think Reverse Engineer is a very powerful card, but it doesn't really work all that well with the first card I have, though I guess this is also just removal. I think I also like Prey Upon here, and Sweatworks Brawler, and I think because Sweatworks Brawler is in the same color and has a lot of potential with like a few implements like these, I think that's probably what I'm gonna take here. I have no idea how good Ravenous Intruder is. It might be really good, might be a little bit worse. I really have no idea. I've heard that Consulate Dreadnought is actually better than what it gets credit for. So basically I'm hoping to take this and this Sweatworks Brawler and then hope to wheel one of the implements. Okay, so we see a lot of very good red cards still in the pack. That's a great sign for us. There's also a Fatal Push, which I think is maybe even the best card that is here. Usually, knowing me, I would take Shock here, because I always take removal over creatures unless the creature is really good. But in this case, I've actually heard that Aether Chaser may be like the best card in the entire format at common. So I think I'm supposed to take that here. I really don't like passing the Shock fourth because it might put my next door neighbor into red. So we're really going to have to try to cut red really hard from here on in. But this is a really good pack. It also has the Aether Stream Leopard and the Fatal Push, which are both very good cards. Even Defiant Salvager is fine, but for now we're taking Chaser and we're still mono red. Okay, so now there's basically no red cards here. Destructive Tampering is pretty good from what I've heard. I like that fact that it's modular. Sometimes you use it on defense to destroy like an artifact creature, and other times it will just win you the game when you play it, so I really like it. Also think Druid of the Cowl is a very good 2-drop, and I also like Iron Tread Crusher. Already have a 3-power creature to crew it. So I don't know, maybe because it's colorless that's the pick here, but I could definitely see taking the Tampering here as well. Other than that, there's nothing really here. I think Foundry Hornet is also pretty good, but +1/+1 team is actually more something you pair with green. So I think it's between the Crusher and the Tampering here. I'm gonna pick up the Tampering. So it looks good in an aggressive deck, and of course the next card is also Destructive Tampering. So now I wish I had taken the artifact. But there's a lot of good cards still here. So it looks like Dawnfeather Eagle is a good card in white, and white-red is a good archetype. So I'm considering that. But there's also Narnam Renegade, which is a 1/2 Death Touch for 1 mana, which is great, and can be potentially a little bit better than that. There's also Aid of the Cowl, which I think is fine, but doesn't really work in the aggressive deck we're trying to build here. Actually, could also take an Implement because it works well with the Sweatworks Brawler. I think green is more open than white here, but I'm not sure. Let's take the Narnam Renegade. Ooh, and here's Chandra's Revolution, so red is really open here. And there's a lot of good white cards still. There's another Kruger. So yeah, this is looking very good for us. I also really like Renegade Rallier, but we're not going to be playing a green-white card in our deck. I think Chandra's Revolution is absolutely perfect here, and we're still very open to any second color. I like Implement of Combustion with some of the other cards we have here, but I think Welder Automaton, because it's also a creature and an endgame plan, is probably even better here. It also works well as something to use for the Improvise on Sweatwork Brawler, so also worth noting, there's still a Prey Upon here, which is also a really good card. That might actually also be the pick here. I'm not sure about this. Could be one of these three cards. I think I'm still not gonna commit to a second color and just play the Welder Automaton. And here I think we'll take the Implements, because I think it's a little bit better as an enabler than the Solvent. Yeah. Really happy with where we're at right now. I'm gonna take the Frontline Rebel over Ornithopter. Ornithopter is can be really explosive with Improvise, but we still only have one Improvise card, so I don't really think we want to go too deep on that. And I'm really happy to pick up a good aggressive 3-drop. So here we can take the Ravenous Intruder, which is good with the implements, or we could pick up another implement, but this one is not really on. Could also take the combat trick here. But I still think we want to stay as red as possible for now. Okay. Defiant Salvager is probably a better card than Siege Modification, but I could see playing Siege Modification. Probably not, but you never know. Biggest chance of playing one of these cards is the Renegade. We'll take the Sailback Tactician, which will be in the sideboard. So basically we're playing red, and then for now I think we're playing green, but there's definitely a chance that when we get a good bomb we go into something else. But here we have two bombs actually. Yaheni's Expertise, which is great, but not in an aggressive style deck like the one I'm playing here, and Richcale Tusker, which is an amazing top end of your curve when you're playing a beatdown deck. And I think I'm just going to take this and now solidly head into a red-green deck. I think that's probably the best thing we can do here. Richcale Tusker is just great. Another Hungry Flames, great pickup, another really good removal spell. We're really hoping to table like Heroic Intervention, Welder Automaton, or like Iron Tread Crusher from this pack, but now we're really happy with the Hungry Flames. So here I'm thinking, so white is really open here, but I don't think, we could still switch out of green, but I think for now we won't, and we'll just take the Welder Automaton, add another good 2-drop to our aggressive deck, and help with the Improvise. I could definitely, I also really want to pick up like one Iron Tread Crusher, although I don't have that many 3-power creatures yet, but I think 2-drops are more important, so I'm gonna take that first. Ooh, here we have Monstrous Onslaught, another really good removal spell. So this deck is really shaping up nicely. Now that we have the Monstrous Onslaught, I do really want to pick up a few bigger creatures than the ones we have now. So Iron Tread Crusher, for instance, is really good with Monstrous Onslaught. But I also really like Druid of the Cowl as a 2-drop, and there's another Welder Automaton here, which is also pretty good. But I think Druid of the Cowl is just like, it's a really good 2-drop, it just accelerates. I'm not 100% sure on this. Could definitely also be the Crusher because it's so good with the Monstrous Onslaught. We don't have that many 3 and 4 drops yet, so maybe this is the pick. We saw so many crushers though, there's a chance they wheel. I'm gonna take the 2 drop. Ooh, and we have another Aether Chaser here. Seems like the best card here. Another Implement as well. Okay, we have a lot of good 2 drops. Great. Here's another Implement, which I don't know if we really need to pick these up anymore because we only have one card that works with Improvise. So it may not even be that good. Maybe 8 of the Cowl is better, but on the other hand we also don't really have anything that really triggers it, so I think I'm just gonna take the Implement anyway. Ooh, here we have Outland Boar, great stats. Typically the kind of creature that I actually don't like playing, because it's just a really random, like, big creature that doesn't do anything else, but big creatures are good in an aggressive deck, especially this kind of an aggressive deck. We already have 1 Tampering, I don't think we need 2, so we're gonna take another Welder Automaton here. And here we're gonna take another Sailback, because it's so good with the Monstrous Onslaughts. And another Sailback, I guess. We're not gonna play all 3 of these, it's almost impossible. Probably not gonna play any of these, so take a Wrangle. Could be good in our deck, probably not. It's looking like our deck is going to be really good, so there's 1 card that I wanted to wheel that we didn't, and that's the Iron Thread Crusher, but I think the Latnu Sailbacks will do a good job of providing big-bodied creatures. We also have the Outland Boar now, so we have like 4 really big creatures. That seems fine. We really want 3 drops now, I think. Probably not playing the Silkweaver Elite, but because this is not a good aggressive creature. Okay, so this is a good pack with Cloud Blazer, Contraband, Kingpin, Iron Lead, Steeg, Hunt the Weak, Self-Assembler, all of those. Self-Assembler is a lot worse than it used to be, but for our deck I think Renegade Freighter is a really easy pick. Very, very good aggressive creature. Probably what I would have asked for if I didn't already know what I was opening. So again, I mostly want to pick up like maybe 1 more removal spell and then just a lot of good 3 drops. And then I think we have a very, very good deck. Okay, waiting for our next pick. So we already have 24 cards. So from now on we're going to be cutting something every time. I think the worst cards in our deck for now are the Siege Modification and the Silkweaver Elite. And maybe the Ravenous Intruder. So if I can change those for better cards, that would be great. Here, there's a lot of decent cards that I really liked in Kaladesh draft. For instance, the Prophetic Prism, which is great, one of my favorite cards ever. But I'm gonna take the Arbor Backstomper here. It's just a really, really powerful card, even in an aggressive deck. This is pretty bad. There's a 3-drop here in Eye Spire Artisan, but it really doesn't work well in this deck. There's also Wayward Giant, which is fine, but we already have a lot of 5-drops. There's also Fire Forger's Puzzle Knots, which I think got a little bit better because there's also like a lot of 1 toughness creatures now in the format, but I'm not sure if that's worth picking here. Is Wayward Giant better than one of my Latinu Sailbacks? I think it probably is, but I'm not really sure. Or do I want a good sideboard card? I guess I'll take the creature. I think it's a little bit better than the second Sailback. Wow, our colors are really cut here in this final pack, which I don't understand because we got so many good late cards in the second booster. I think Build to Smash is really good in this deck because of the 3 Welder Automatons and the Freighter. So maybe that's a pick here. Spontaneous Artist is actually also pretty good because it can give one of my big creatures here haste. Um, Actually, maybe that's even better. Skyskiff, I think, is not all that great in this deck. Already have a lot of 2-drops. I think I'm gonna take the Artist. Okay, so here we have a good removal spell in Hunter Week, Quicksmith Genius, which actually works pretty well with all the artifacts we have. And it's also a 3-power 3-drop, so maybe that's what I need to pick here. But I do really like Hunter Week as well. We have a lot of pretty big creatures on 4 and 5, so Hunter Week would work very well with those. Uh, I think Hunter Week is probably like a little bit better than the Genius here, just like a 5th removal spell. Again, a pack that has really no aggressive creatures, which is really unfortunate. Wild Wanderer, we're not gonna play that, but I think it's still the pick. Maybe, well, there's basically no chance we ever want to splash anything, so I don't really know if we need it, but we'll pick it anyway. Oh, really? This is exactly what we're looking for. This Brazen Scourge fits perfectly in our deck. So here we still have a P-File, Demolish. I guess that's a sideboard card. It's not a good sideboard card though. Self-Assembler. I think this is the pack. This is our first pack, right? Yeah, this is our first pack, so we didn't see any other self-assemblers, so it's not worth picking up. So yeah, I guess we'll just take the Demolish for the sideboard. I could see Torch Gauntlet being okay in this deck because of stuff like Monstrous Onslaught, but it's probably not better than any of the other cards. I think I'm gonna take the Aradara Express as a sideboard card if we get into board stalls. I'll take Start Your Engines but not play it. Oh, and we wield the Build to Smash, which is really, really great. I think it's better than Appetite for the Unnatural in this deck. Cathartic Reunion for the sideboard. We're gonna have to start looking at what cards to cut. I think probably not playing the Siege modification is my guess. It's really good on the Freighter and on like Wayward Giant, it's really good. But even Arbor Backstomper, I guess, but it's not that great in the deck. So the cards I'm still considering here are the Sailbacks, probably just one maximum. This is going to be a sideboard card. So I think the Sailback, the Wanderer, and the Siege modification are possible considerations, but it looks like our curve is really good. We have 18 creatures is a bit much. So I think because we only have the one Spontaneous Artist to power out with the Improvise, I think we don't need both of the implements, and I think Implement of Ferocity is the best one out of the two, so let's cut that one. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger for you to watch. I do like Destructive Tampering in this deck. I think a Highspire Artisan just doesn't work very well in this deck. It's unfortunate that we don't have that many 3-drops, but I guess this is kind of like a 3-drop creature. And sometimes we'll just go from 2 to 4-drop with Druid of the Cowl. I think you want to keep most of these big creatures from Monstrous Onslaught. I think Ravenous Intruder is probably not the best card here. It's good with the implement, but that's about it, I guess. So let's side that one and put that one in the sideboard. And now I think I want to cut one more card. I've heard that this is more like a 16 land format because, again, you like in Kaladesh, you don't have that many things that work well when you're flooded. Although Welder Automaton is actually a pretty good example of a card that does work pretty well when you do have a lot of mana. So I think my final cut is going to be either the implement or maybe the build to smash. Although I actually like the build to smash quite a lot with the freighter, the automatons, some of the menace creatures. It's also pretty good with. I think I want to keep that in. Destructive Tampering could be like a sideboard card, but I've heard that this is so good, so I really want to actually try it. I could cut one of the big creatures, although I do really want to keep those for Monstrous Onslaught, but maybe 4 is enough. Maybe I cut the Sailback and go for, yeah. It's also better on the mana. Yeah, I kind of like the look of this deck, and let's do this. Let's play this deck. I'll add some basic lands, probably go... We have more red, but we have more double green, so I think this is just an 8/8 deck. Yeah, looks about right. We also have the Druid to add the double green mana. There's actually a possibility, because of the Brazen Scourge, that we want to go 9/7 here. Let's count out the mana symbols. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 red symbols, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so it's pretty even, and there's also the implement and the automatons to take into account. So I think it's just an 8/8 deck. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Let's see how we do. I'll see you in the first round.